Today's topic is classification of magnetic materials. The classification of magnetic material based on induced dipoles, permanent dipoles. So we call as induced dipoles, okay, permanent dipoles. So induced dipoles, permanent dipoles. Okay. So diamagnetism comes under induced dipoles. So there is no existence of permanent dipoles due to induced. By placing the material in the external magnetic field, some induced dipoles will come. Okay. Due to induced dipoles, the material shows magnetism. That's why they called as diamagnetic materials. Due to permanent dipoles, okay, the magnetism comes. That material may be paramagnetic. The material may be ferromagnetic. The material may be antiferromagnetic. The material may be ferrimagnetic materials. Okay. So this is the material which contains permanent dipoles. Okay. The material may show permanent paramagnetism, ferromagnetism, antiferromagnetism, ferrimagnetism. Okay. So permanent dipoles are in paramagnetic, ferromagnetic, antiferromagnetic, ferrimagnetic materials. So even though material contains permanent dipoles, it may doesn't show strong magnetism. Okay, the magnetism varies. Okay, the magnetism varies. So that's why they call induced. So induced dipoles. Okay, when the material having induced dipole, it show diamagnetism. When the material having permanent dipole, it may be paramagnetic, it may be ferromagnetic, it may be antiferromagnetic, it may be ferrimagnetic materials. Okay, that's why the total classification of magnetic materials into how many types? 5 types. The first one is called diamagnetic materials. So the second one, paramagnetic materials. Third one is ferromagnetic materials. Fourth one is antiferromagnetic materials. Fifth one is ferrimagnetic materials. So here in diamagnetic materials, the magnetism comes due to induced dipoles. That's what you have to remember. Okay, and next, in paramagnetic materials, the magnetism comes due to permanent dipoles. In ferromagnetic materials also it comes to permanent dipoles. In antiferromagnetic materials also it comes to due to permanent dipoles. In ferrimagnetic materials also come to permanent dipoles. So what is the difference? In all the materials there are permanent dipoles, but the magnetism is changing. Why the magnetism is changing here is there is an alignment of spins. So the permanent dipoles are there. How these permanent dipoles are aligned, that is important. The alignment of the spins is important. Based upon the alignment of the spins, okay, the magnetism comes. The magnetism comes. Okay. So that's why the materials are classified into 3: diamagnetic, paramagnetic, ferromagnetic, anti-ferromagnetic, ferrimagnetic materials. Okay. So diamagnetic materials have induced dipoles. All these materials are permanent dipoles. In these permanent dipoles, how these alignment of permanent dipoles you have to take into consideration, and you have to explain the magnetism. If you overall look all these materials, this diamagnetic and paramagnetic will show weak magnetism. Okay, and remaining 3 will show the strong magnetism. The strong magnetism is shown by ferromagnetic, antiferromagnetic, ferrimagnetic materials. So these 2 show weak magnetism. So the magnetism is there. Okay, the magnetism is there, but diamagnetic, paramagnetic shows weak. In these 2, this diamagnetic shows very weak, and this shows weak. Okay, in these 3, once again the ferrimagnetic materials very show. The ferro and ferrimagnetic materials which shows very strong magnetism. If you compare among these 3, ferro, antiferro, and ferrimagnetic materials, the ferrimagnetic materials shows very strong magnetism, and ferro and ferri. Okay, so this is about classification. So our syllabus is constrained only to 3 magnetic materials. We have to learn about only 3. So what is the first one? Diamagnetic materials. Second one is paramagnetic materials. Third one is ferromagnetic materials. Okay. So diamagnetic materials have induced dipoles. These paramagnetic materials have permanent dipoles. These ferromagnetic materials also have permanent dipoles. So these permanent dipoles is not that permanent dipoles means spin. So whether the spins, you have to see the spinning electron acts like a tiny magnet. You have to see how the spin magnetism is aligned, how this dipoles. You have to see the alignment. You have to see the alignment of dipoles in the material. In paramagnetic, how these permanent dipoles are aligned. In ferromagnetic materials, how these permanent dipoles are aligned. You have to see the alignment of these dipoles. So in these dipoles, that is alignment, or we called as arrangement. Alignment, or we call as arrangement of dipoles. So we call as alignment of dipoles or arrangement. We call as alignment or arrangement. We have to see the alignment and arrangement, whatever it may be. You have to see the alignment or the arrangement of dipoles, and you have to express that magnetism. Okay. And we go for this is the, and we have what are these examples for these materials. Okay. So which materials shows this magnetism? Okay. So these are the materials. So the materials are classified into diamagnetic, paramagnetic, ferromagnetic materials. They're classified into diamagnetic, paramagnetic, ferromagnetic. So these diamagnetic materials. So this blue color all comes under diamagnetic materials. Okay. So these are called diamagnetic materials. Okay. This part, all this comes under diamagnetic materials. Okay. So example, copper, silver, bismuth. So this is copper. Okay, silver, Ag, gold. See these examples. These examples will come in online exam also. Give some examples for diamagnetic materials. So all this comes under diamagnetic materials. Copper, silver, gold, bismuth, diamond, water, etc. All comes under diamagnetic materials. Next we go for paramagnetic materials. See the paramagnetic, this all comes under paramagnetic materials. Okay. This all comes under paramagnetic materials. So aluminium, tungsten, magnesium, air, liquid, oxygen. This also comes under titanium, vanadium, chromium. Okay, magnesium, Mg is there. Okay, magnesium. This all comes under paramagnetic materials. So this shows very weak magnetism. This shows very weak magnetism. This is due to permanent dipoles. This is due to induced dipoles. And the third one is called ferromagnetic material. These are the examples of ferromagnetic material. These are called metals. Okay, iron, cobalt, nickel. These materials also have permanent dipoles. Here also permanent dipoles. Here also permanent dipoles. What is the difference? You have to see the alignment. What you have to see? Alignment of dipoles. Dipole is nothing but this one, spin. Spinning electron, it acts like a tiny magnet. So spinning electron acts like a tiny magnet means how many poles it consists of? 2 poles, north pole, south pole. Like that you have to see how they are aligned. This is called spinning time. Spinning electron acts like a tiny magnet. This is one magnet, this is one magnet, this is one magnet, like that. You have to see these dipoles, how they are aligned. Based on that alignment, the magnetism comes. Okay. So today we are discussing these three. Okay, dia, para, and ferromagnetic materials. First we go for diamagnetic materials. Okay, you have to remember all these examples: iron, cobalt, nickel. These are the examples for para. Among these three, which shows highest magnetism? Dia, para, and ferro. Which shows highest magnetism? This paramagnetic shows highest magnetism. Okay, why it shows highest magnetism? So we will clearly explain the classification or the difference. So first we'll go for dia. So dia means the substance, they are unfilled electrons are completely filled orbits are there. In diamagnetic materials, they are completely filled orbitals are there. Okay, so the completely filled orbitals. Okay, so the alignment of dipoles is like that, completely filled. Okay, so we have S shell, P shell, D shell, like that. Shells may be inner shells. So if you D consists of 5 subshells. P consists of 3 subshells. You have to see the inner subshells. In inner subshells, whether the electrons are partially filled or completely filled, you have to see. Okay. So in diamagnetic materials, they are completely filled. The orbits are completely filled. So when the orbits are completely filled, what happens? This is plus mu b and this is minus mu b. What happens? The net dipole moment becomes 0. Okay. So these are called diamagnetic materials. Substance which get weakly magnetized. Substance which get weakly magnetized in the direction opposite to the direction of applied electric field. If you apply this field in this direction, these diamagnetic materials have completely filled orbitals. These materials, if you take the electronic configuration of any of the material and you write, so what happens? They are completely filled orbitals. Due to the completely filled orbitals, they show weak magnetism. They show induced. Okay, so weakly magnetized in the direction opposite to the direction of applied electric field, okay, are called diamagnetic materials. So there is absence of permanent dipoles. These are induced dipoles. These are called induced dipoles. These two dipoles try to align in the field direction. Due to try to alignment in this field direction, they get some magnetism. That's why they called as diamagnetic materials. So paramagnetic materials means there are some dipoles are there. Okay, they are partially filled subshells are there. Partially filled subshells are there. This is completely filled. These are completely filled subshells. These are partially filled subshells. Due to the partially filled subshells, they align randomly. All the dipoles will align randomly. Okay, somewhere like that. So due to alignment of random alignment of dipoles, the magnetism, the net magnetic moment is 0. By application of the electric field, all the dipoles try to align in the field direction. That's why they show some magnetism. If you consider ferromagnetic materials, they forms into a small region called domains. These are the small regions called domains. The material itself, okay, they form into a small region called domains. These are called domains. This is domain 1, this is domain 2, this is domain 3, this is domain 4, this is domain 5. These materials also have partially filled inner subshells. In these partially filled inner subshells, the dipoles themselves align parallel to each other and forms a small regions called domains. Here there is no domains here. See, all are randomly oriented here. Okay, but in ferromagnetic materials, these dipoles, they themselves align parallel to each other and forms a region called as domain. This is called domains. Domain means in that domain, this is one domain, a small region. Domain means a small region in which all the dipoles, they themselves align parallel to each other. The spins are parallel. See the spins. Spins are parallel. Here spins are there, but randomly oriented. Randomly oriented. Here all the spins are parallel. In this domain, they are parallel. Spins are parallel. In this domain, the spins are parallel. Just like that. In this domain, the dipoles will align in this direction. In this domain, the dipoles will align in this direction. In this domain, fifth domain, the dipoles will align in this direction. In each domain, what we are observing, spins are parallel. Spins are parallel, but the direction is different. See, this is in this direction. If you apply external field, what happens? When you place this ferro, cobalt or nickel, okay, each has its own domains, okay, and if you place these materials in external magnetic field, what happens? All the dipoles in the domains align parallel to each other. All the dipoles in the domains align parallel to each other. That's why they show very strong magnetism. Among these three, these ferromagnetic materials will show very strong magnetism. So why? The spins are parallel. In each domain, spins are parallel. By application of electric field, all the domains align parallel to magnetic field and process such a strong magnetism. There is in paramagnetic materials, there is no concept of domain. All the dipoles are aligned randomly. Okay, all the dipoles are aligned randomly. By application of electric field, magnetism comes. That's why it shows weak. So diamagnetic is very weak. This way they show these two called as weak. That's why the ferromagnetic shows very strong magnetism. So among this is about difference. So few more differences I'm adding to this one. Okay, so we'll see what are the another differences. So these are the diamagnetic. So see, or classification of magnetic materials. So they are divided into 5 types. You have to remember they are divided into 5 types: diamagnetic, paramagnetic, ferromagnetic, diamagnetic, paramagnetic, ferromagnetic materials. Okay, so diamagnetic materials. So diamagnetic materials, the substance which gets weakly magnetized. These are weakly magnetized. Weakly magnetized in the direction opposite to the direction of applied field. The weakly magnetized, this is the direction of field, magnetized in the direction opposite to the applied magnetic field. That's called diamagnetic materials. Substance which get strongly, substance which gets weakly magnetized in the external magnetic field. Okay, so this in the direction of the field they will magnetize. This is the direction they will magnetize. That's called paramagnetic. So ferromagnet means strongly magnetized in the direction of applied field. Strong magnetism. It's called this one, difference. Next one. See the orbital motion of the electron, spin motion of the electron, the formation of domains. Okay. So this is cause. The cause due to orbital motion of the electron, spin motion. Okay. And formation of domains. All the spins they align parallel to each other and forms a small regions called domains. Here is also spin motion. This is orbital motion. Why? There is no spin motion. Why? All are completely filled. So the net moment becomes zero. Due to orbital motion, it is only coming. That magnetism also is opposite. Okay. What is called susceptibility? Susceptibility is low and negative. What is meaning of susceptibility? Chi. Chi equal to m by h. Chi equal to m by h. M is called magnetization. These diamagnetic materials are not magnetized. They are weakly magnetized. These diamagnetic materials are weakly magnetized. So when these are weakly magnetized, the chi value is always, this is low value, this is high value. Chi is always less than 1. So chi is always less than 1. So less than 1 means negative. So susceptibility means how easily the material means magnetized. So chi value is low and negative. So here low and positive due to spin motion of this partially filled. Due to partially filled electrons, these electrons are randomly oriented. By application of the field, it shows some magnetism. That's why chi is positive, greater than 1. It shows some magnetism. That's why chi is greater than 1. That even though it is low, but greater than 1. Here it is low and negative. And high and positive. Why? It shows very strong magnetism. That's why it is greater than 1. Its value is in hundreds. Very strongly magnetized. These are. That's why the chi. Chi means m by h. Shows this very m value, high magnetization value. For small fields, h is called magnetic field strength. For small fields, there is large magnetization. That's why chi is high and positive. And relative permeability. This is less than 1. Ability of the material to allow lines of force. So this material doesn't allow lines of force to pass through it. So this one. So this one, and this chi is called relative permeability, less than 1. It doesn't allow lines of force to pass through it. Field is in this direction, magnetization is opposite to that. Doesn't allow lines of force. Permeability, ability of the material to allow lines of less than 1. It allows lines of force. It allows more lines of force to pass through it, that is greater than 1. It is less than 1, it is greater than 1, it is greater than 1. No spin alignment here. See, all are completely filled orbitals. There is no spin alignment. Only due to orbital motion we are getting some magnetic moment. All spins are randomly oriented. They are partially filled electrons are there. These partially filled electrons are randomly oriented. These are the spins. See, if you apply electric field, what happens? All will align parallel to the field direction. Okay. And next, see this one in spins. In ferromagnetic materials, they forms a small region called domains. See these domains. In these domains, all the dipoles are arranged themselves parallel to each other. That's why they show very strong magnetism. Next, we have to see how the susceptibility varies with temperature. How the susceptibility varies with temperature, you have to see. Okay. So this one. Okay. Here, the susceptibility is independent of temperature. For diamagnetic materials, is independent of temperature. If you increase the temperature, there is no change in susceptibility value. Susceptibility is taken along y-axis. Temperature is taken along x-axis. I'm increasing the temperature of the material. If it is at room temperature, I'm increasing the temperature 40 degrees, 50 degrees, 60 degrees. So with respect to temperature, how the magnetism changes, I am seeing. With respect to temperature, how the magnetism is changing, I am seeing. So with increase of temperature, there is no change in magnetization of the material. That's why they call independent. So susceptibility is independent to temperature. For diamagnetic materials, susceptibility is independent of temperature. If you increase the temperature, there is no change value. For paramagnetic materials, if you increase the temperature, see the magnetization value decreases. Chi decreases, M decreases. Why? Chi can be written as M by H. If magnetization decreases, chi also decreases. With increase of temperature, susceptibility decreases. What is the relation? Chi is inversely proportional to temperature. Chi is inversely proportional. As the temperature increases, susceptibility decreases. With increase of temperature, susceptibility decreases. So paramagnetic material susceptibility depends on temperature. Diamagnetic material susceptibility is independent of temperature. It is clear. Next, to go for ferromagnetic materials. See the ferromagnetic materials, here also susceptibility depends on temperature. Susceptibility depends on temperature. If you see here, up to this one, this is called Curie temperature Tc. Tc is called Curie temperature. Up to Curie temperature, the material shows ferromagnetic region. After Curie temperature, it goes to paramagnetic. Up to Curie temperature, the material shows ferromagnetic behavior. What is the meaning of ferromagnetic behavior? It shows strong magnetism. So after Curie temperature, it shows paramagnetic behavior. Tc is called Curie temperature. So Curie temperature. Every material has its own Curie temperature. Up to Curie temperature only, it shows ferromagnetic behavior. That shows strong magnetism. After the temperature, it goes to paramagnetic temperature. That is called Tc. Tc is known as Curie temperature. That's why it is called Curie-Weiss law. That is equal to 1 by, I think it is chi equal to 1 by T minus Tc. Chi equal to 1 by T minus Tc. That's right as. Okay. So we have written here. Okay. See, B in, B out. Oh, so sorry, we have forgot here. This one. So this is the, I forgot. Okay, this is a relation here. So independent of susceptibilities, independent of temperature. Paramagnetic material susceptibility depends on temperature. Inversely proportional. Chi equal to C by T. Here also it is inversely proportional temperature, but one temperature is called, that is called Curie temperature, Tc. So T less than Tc, ferromagnetic behavior. T greater than Tc, paramagnetic behavior. T less than Tc, ferromagnetic behavior. T greater than Tc, paramagnetic behavior. So this is called Curie law. This is called Curie-Weiss law. This is called Curie law. Chi equal to C by T for para. This is for ferro. Curie-Weiss law. Tc is called Curie temperature. When the temperature of the material is less than Curie temperature, it shows ferromagnetic behavior. Greater than Tc, it shows paramagnetic behavior. So we have shown the graph also there. So this is the graph. Okay. So B in, B out, you have to see. So diamagnetic material doesn't allow lines of force to pass through it. So see, the material doesn't allow lines of force to pass. Why? They are completely filled orbitals. Okay, it doesn't. If you apply, this is the external magnetic field applying to the diamagnetic material. So it doesn't allow lines of force to pass through it. Example is bismuth, zinc, water, gold. See, the paramagnetic materials, it allows few lines of force to pass through it. That's why B in is greater than B out. Aluminum, platinum, okay, Mn, and these are ferromagnetic materials. Shows very strong magnetism. B in is greater than B out. What is B? Flux. Flux means lines of force passing per unit area. So B in is greater than B out. So more lines of force is passing means more is a magnetization. That's why B is a non-linear with H here. B is a non-linear function of H. It is a linear function here. It is linear function here. It is non-linear function of H. So these are the examples of iron, nickel, cobalt. Okay. So these are about classification of materials. So classification. So how it varies with temperature. What are the examples? So you have to remember these mu r chi values. You have to remember chi, mu r, susceptibility for dia, para, ferro, mu r for dia, para, ferro, whether the susceptibility depends on temperature or not, and you have to see how the spin alignment. And you have to see how the spin alignment is also takes place.